Hello folks, we continue our journey through New England on our New England excursion. We have another location today in Maine. This time we've gone a little bit more north and we're in sort of this mid-coast region. A little more north than Portland, a little more eastward. Before anything else happens, I do want to go to one place because I'm not sure how long it's going to be open still. So here is a map of all the lighthouses along the country. Notice how in Maine there is a whole slew of them. Alright, we are now out of the museum, and it's really important to note that all the exhibits in that museum are authentic. At one point they were used either in the lighthouse itself or on the seas. And lighthouses are not just an integral part of the culture of Maine, but the United States as a whole. A lot of these rugged shorelines along the coast sort of demand that you have to have these grand lighthouses to make sure that sailors, people on boats don't crash into the rocky shores and capsize their boat. We are at Rockland, Maine. This is a little northeast of Portland area. We're now in a different region of Maine. Maine actually has its own distinct regions. It's not just one coast, one inland forest. So there's the southern coast, and then there's the mid-coast, and then there's down east. We're in the mid-coast, in the middle between the southern coast and down east. We are here at Rockland Harbor, the aptly named harbor because it's in Rockland, and you can see this is yet another one of those little marine cultured towns with lots of boats, either for fishing or boating for enjoyment. You could see why people in Maine love the water. I think that's just another one of those tour boats. I don't have money to go on one of those lately. Taking a look at this beautiful Rockland Harbor that eventually goes into the greater Atlantic Ocean, you could really sense that the marine culture is strong here. Honestly, it kind of smells like sea salt right now. It's a nice smell. That coastal Maine town smell. I love it. So now we have made it to downtown Rockland. This is the historic part of the city. The area known as Rockland, Maine started out as a little small settlement, but then two industries really skyrocketed Rockland's economy and population. That is, the shipbuilding industry and the lime industry. Lime as in limestone, not the fruit. Well, what do you know, it's beginning to rain. So hopefully it stays a drizzle and not just a complete downpour. That would ruin the day. In fact, even after deindustrialization and the end of the manufacturing era of the Northeast, shipbuilding and marina culture I might say, still persists right here in Rockland. I mean, take a look at this giant piece of rust. I don't know how old it is, it looks old, but not as old as those wooden ships from over 150 years ago. It seems like mid-20th century. But once again, I'm no expert. That's just a guess. Now, when compared to this ship, however, seems like something you wouldn't be embarrassed to take out to sea. Looks all shiny, Pristine, new. What a sight to see. Now this is something you can really only see in the state of Maine. That rocky, rugged coastline in the background with all these little boats and ships moving along with pine trees here and there scattered about. Huh, now look at this. Is this ship trying to dock right here? It's very fun to watch ships dock and see what they do, how they turn around. Wait a minute. Is that ship from the Marshall Islands? I see the flag right there. Oh, that makes sense too. The Coast Guard has some business here in Rockland. It's the coast after all. The East Coast. Aside from the aforementioned ways that Rockland, Maine made its money. Fishing, of course. It's by the coast. You'd expect the coast, like the rest of the coast of Maine, to have fish, plenty of it. So from regular fish, cod, haddock, to shellfish, crustaceans, mollusks. But out of all the seafood in the sea waiting to be consumed by us humans, nothing beats the taste of a Maine lobster here. So much so that Rockland, Maine, every year hosts an annual Lobster Fest. Now this year it didn't happen, but every other year, Lobster Fest has been an annual tradition that Mainers love to visit Rockland for, to try some great Maine lobster. I really like the small town charm of Rockland. Compared to other coastal towns, it's less of a tourist trap and more of the authentic, down-to-earth thing. So if you want to get away from the tourism, come here to Rockland for the same great views of the coast without the snobbiness of the modern tourism. I'm really glad this bird doesn't mind me filming it. Usually all the other birds walk away, fly away, but this bird's pretty chill. But seriously, nothing like putting the rock in Rockland, Maine. What a nice, beautiful sight. And you see that stretch of rocks and boulders over there? We're gonna walk on it. We're gonna walk in to the Rockland Harbor. All right, goodbye, my friend. Hope you have a jolly time sitting down there. We have a breakwater to walk across. All right, to my left. Well, I don't know if it's your left, your right, whatever, just go with it. To my left, you'll see the great Penobscot Bay. And to my right, you'll see the Rockland Harbor, with the little ships and boats and little buildings in the very far distance. We are walking on what's called the breakwater, and the name explains it all. It breaks up the water, so my guess is that it stops the weathering and erosion that the waves might have on the land over there in Rockland. That, and it's cool to walk on. Tourists and locals alike will take a marvelous journey, and it's around actually like a mile. That's what I hear. It may not seem that far in the distance, but it sure is a long walk away. So we got plenty of time to walk here. Now, although it may just seem like endless waters, in the very far distance, I don't know if this camera can pick it up, but the fog is covering a vast array of islands in this Penobscot Bay. And so, in this mid-coast region of Maine, these islands are home to many different local people, and you can actually take a ferry from Rockland to a couple of these islands out in the distance. I don't know how far we've been walking on this breakwater path. We're still not even close to getting there, but as we get into the interior of this bay, or the harbor, whichever side you want to call it, I'm noticing it's getting remarkably chillier. And it's getting a little more windy as well. And that's because there's no land to moderate the winds anymore. We're in the heart of the waters. Whatever the wind, the temperature patterns are, that's what we're feeling right here as we're walking down this breakwater. I completely forgot to mention this from videos in the past. So ever since we went up through New England into, let's say, the state of New Hampshire, I've noticed that there is some dialectal change. People are speaking in more of a New England accent, dropping the R's at the end of words, and it almost sounds a bit British. But you can also think of it as sort of a Boston accent too. But in Maine especially, you'll hear it quite a lot, especially in the words like lobster or something like that. Finally, it's about time we've arrived at this place, the end of the breakwater. Now, what is this place? Oh, right, it's a lighthouse. And it's great that they have this little dock so you can take a scenic photo of it. But this is where I'm gonna do my ending monologue. Oh, there's a boat. Look at this thing, it's majestic. It's also very rustic. Reminds one of days gone by, before everything became so modern. There was just this little thing. Maybe. I don't know the history of Rockland all too well. Looks like we got rough waters around these parts. All for the fun of adventure, am I right? It's not just one boat, it's another. You know, honestly, it's real funny. We started the day off with a lighthouse, the museum, lots of lighthouse exhibits and such. And we end the day now with another lighthouse, this time in person, a real historic one. Now you can tell why lighthouses are such an important part of Maine culture. Just don't tell people of Maine that Michigan, the state, has more lighthouses. Oh, look at that, there's a third boat. They just keep on coming. Oh, we are certainly getting that authentic Maine cultural experience today. Boating, lighthouses. We did have lobster rolls back in Portland, so our experience in Maine has been very, very fulfilling culturally, and we're not even over yet. So as daylight begins to wane, you see the sunset starting to develop around here. If only it were less cloudy, then we'd see a more prominent sunset, maybe. And the first signs of nightfall slowly but surely start to encroach upon us. We are right here at this beautiful lighthouse right here in Rockland, Maine. So I hope you enjoyed today. Very fun cultural Maine experience. I loved it. So right here in the middle of these Maine waters, whatever you want to call it, the Rockland Harbor, the Penobscot Bay, but right here, right nearby, Rockland, Maine, more travels to come. I will see you at the next location.